Okay, all of a sudden I decided I do want to try talking about this subject, even though it's going to rub some people the wrong way and tick some people off, and you're all going to jump to conclusions that I'm not making, and you're all going to think things about me that aren't true, um, because human nature is what human nature is, and I guess I'm guilty of it too. I think back on things I've said about people or things I've thought. Um, so let me start here. I am not convinced of the truth or the falseness of whether or not God exists. I do believe in God, but I am not convinced that there. See, that's not the right way to put it. Let me try that again. I am not convinced of the truth or falseness of evolution or creation, young earth creation or old earth creation. There are two different versions of creationism, for those of you who don't know. There are old earth creationists who agree that the universe is billions of years old. The earth is billions of years old, probably. Whether they all agree with evolution, I don't think so. I know of one old earth creationist who is a scientist. I know I'm going to say that word loosely because you're not going to accept him as a scientist, who said there is no evolution. That humans have always been humans, apes have always been apes, and blah, blah. And he's an old earth creationist. I'm assuming there are old earth creationists who accept evolution. I think William Lane Craig, one of the main debate guys who've debated atheists, debated Sam Harris, he debated Lawrence Krauss, he debated Christopher Hitchens. He accepts evolution as true. I don't reject it. I don't say it's false. I don't know. It might be true. Evolution, this is what I say to creationists like Kent Hovind and all the young earth creationists out there. Ray Comfort did a whole movie. I think he made a movie about show me the proof of evolution. No one could show him any proof, and he concluded, see, evolution's a lie. No, no one has proven to me that evolution is a lie. Ken Hovind is convinced that evolution is a lie. Never seen the proof that evolution is a lie. And I've never seen the proof that evolution is true. It might be true. It might be false. There might be a God. There might not be. I say to the atheist, you could be wrong. There might be a God and evolution might not be true. And I say to the young earth creationist, you could be wrong. Evolution might be true and there might not be a God. And what are you going to do about it? If you found out that your worldview is wrong, like absolute proof, what would happen to you? See, I'll be unaffected by it. My worldview, and I've said this in a video before, is truth is more important than my beliefs. If there is no God, I would like to see proof that there is no God. I've listened to Matt Dillahunty, Sam Harris, Lawrence Krauss. I like Matt Dillahunty. Sometimes he annoys me. Sometimes I don't like the way he's short with some of his callers. And he's not as fair-minded as he would like to think he is. I would be willing to talk to him, but he'd probably call me an idiot and then be short with me and, say, nah, I'm done with you. And just hang up on me. He would cut me off. And I can't deal with people like that. I try to be patient. I try to be understanding. I try to listen and give you the benefit of the doubt. And I think he does that too, but not always. So I'm not saying evolution didn't happen. I'm saying I have never seen proof that it did. I have not seen proof that reptiles evolved into birds. My nephew believes it. He says, well, you clearly haven't studied it. I said, I've listened. I've read. I've listened to the arguments. I've read scrolls of comments on YouTube of people debating evolution and creation. And it all ends up boiling down to, you're an idiot, you reject science, you don't know what you're talking about. You're an idiot, you reject the Bible, you just don't believe. It just devolves. The conversations devolve. Not, hey, show me the proof. Okay, I'm not sure about that. That's interesting. I see what you're saying, but I'm not convinced. I'm not. I don't believe that Adam and Eve were literal. I don't believe they were. If they were, okay, that would be weird. That would be really weird. But that wouldn't destroy my worldview. My worldview is truth is more important than my beliefs. If Adam and Eve are literal, all we have to do is someone has to build a time machine, like in H.G. Wells, and travel back through time and say, there they are. Boom, we've just ended that discussion. We could disprove or prove evolution too. All you have to do is show me proof that any species has evolved into another species or has evolved from another species. Just show me the proof. My understanding, again, I have limited knowledge of this stuff, but the evolutionist has told me that humans and apes all evolved from a creature, and they show a picture of this creature that kind of looks like an ape, and he's kind of like this, and not Archaeopteryx, that's the reptile, the bird, Andropithecus, I think is what they call him. And I said, okay, is that just a picture that you created, or is that an actual, like, no, that's not, that's just something that you created. Show me, can you prove to me that that's true? Because see, if you can prove to me that reptiles evolved into birds, oh, well then evolution's true. And I would accept it as fact. Where the young earth creationists will say, that's a lie from the devil. That's a lie from the devil. You're deceiving. You're a demon. And they would go on with any excuse they could make other than accept the truth. And I say the same thing to the evolutionist, who if someone could show them proof that evolution is baloney, they would say, no way. You'll never convince me of that. They're just as stubborn. It's ridiculous how both sides are pig-headed mules who don't want to be wrong. They can't handle the possibility that they're wrong. Why? Why is everybody so bent out of shape of the possibility that you're wrong? I don't believe Adam and Eve are literal. I believe that whole thing is spiritual. That's talking about the conscious and your subconscious mind. And one will be in subjection to the other. And the whole story is just... Check out the YouTube channel, The Simulation Frequency. She just did a whole thing about the Bible, the code, and this is a simulation, and the whole Adam and Eve story. Like 4-part. I'm on part 2 right now listening to it. It's fascinating. It's very cool. See, I'm open to the possibility. I saw a geneticist, not some idiot young earth creationist, a geneticist, but you'll tell me he's an idiot because he believes in young earth creationism. And he debated an evolutionist, and the evolutionist said, I'm not even sure why I agreed to this because this is silly, because we've already proven this as fact. And the geneticist just laughed. And he said, no, you don't have anything, and I can easily show you that your theory of evolution is nonsense. And they went back and forth, and the evolutionist just rolled his eyes and said, you don't know what you're talking about, and blah, 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 blah. And on it went. I said, but here's a geneticist, and he's saying this is all baloney. He says, look, we study this stuff. He says, your theory of abiogenesis is crap. You have nothing. And the evolutionist just said nothing to that, just kind of rolled his eyes again. He didn't convince me that evolution is wrong. No one has convinced me that evolution is not true. And no one has convinced me that it's true. So why do I believe in God? Again, I can't prove there is a God. I believe there is. I'm an agnostic theist. I don't know that God exists. I believe that God exists. Why? Because it makes more sense that he does than he doesn't. Now, Matt Dillahunty would roll his eyes at me and tell me I'm an idiot the moment I say that. But the evidence says to me, you can't get something from nothing. Where did God come from would be the very next thing out of his mouth. Where did God come from? I said, whoa, stop. Don't even go there. Let's postpone that silly question, absolutely silly question. Let's not talk. Let's not go there. But you don't want me to You think I'm trying to avoid that? Okay, so you're asking, where did the thing that has always existed begin to exist? That's what you just asked when you say, where did God come from? Where did the thing that's always existed come from? The thing that's always existed, where did that come from? It's a stupid question. I'm not saying that the universe began at some point. Maybe the universe has always existed. But science says it began to exist 13.6 billion years ago, although they do say it was reduced to a point of singularity. And prior to that, there could have been, the universe could have just simply collapsed upon itself. And all the Big Bang is another iteration of the universe. And this has gone on for all eternity. Okay. Those are my two possibilities. The universe has always existed, or there is a being, God, who has always existed, who is the eternal source of all things, the creator and sustainer of all things, who holds all things in existence. One or the other. But you have an eternal source from which all things come, God or the universe. In this view, the eternally existing universe, I think that means the universe is God. Can't claim that. I can't know that. But why do I believe that God exists? Because it makes no sense that something came from nothing. If not God, what? Again, I've never heard an answer to that question where I went, oh, people have tried to answer that question where I've said, if not God, what? Tell me something other than God. And they said, well, aliens could have created life on Earth. Yeah. Where'd the aliens come from? Well, something could have created the aliens. Okay, so we'll call this thing X that created aliens. Where did X come from? See, now I'll just keep going until you give me an eternal source. Because if everything you keep pointing to is caused something, and that thing has not always existed, that thing has a beginning, then I'm just going to say, where did that thing come from? So the atheist, thinking he's got you, loses his brain and says, where did God come from? I'm sorry, what? Where did that which has always existed, where did this eternally existing thing, where did it come from? Is that what are you seriously asking me that question? Because see, if the atheists postulated that the universe has always existed, then I go, well, where did the universe come from? Do you see how stupid my question is? I just told you the universe has always existed. Well, where did it come from? What created the universe? It's always existed. How do you know that? That is our assumption. Same with God. God has always existed. God is the eternal source from which all things come. How do you know that? I don't. I postulate that because it is impossible to get something from nothing. Show me anything that came from nothing, yet you are claiming that everything came from nothing. Not just one or two or three things. Everything came from nothing. Lawrence Krauss wrote a book, The Universe from Nothing, and in parentheses it says, why there is something and not nothing. And it's a whole book about this, and I've never read the book, but I listened to him debate William Lane Craig, evangelical Christian, who's a goof, but he's a very, very good debater, and he's very well educated. And he basically said something to the effect of, we've examined the data of the universe when it came into existence, and there was nothing else there. And I was like, wait, Lawrence, are you saying that because you didn't see God in the data, therefore there is no God? Was that your convincing argument? You're an astrophysicist and you just made that stupid argument? Well, we looked at the data and we didn't see God. So when we looked at the data, when the universe first formed, we should have seen... What makes you think you'd see God? Hi, Lawrence, here I am. I'm over here. That was his argument. I mean, again, I'm going from memory. I don't know exactly if he thinks that proves there is no God. I hope that wasn't his argument. We know there's no God because we looked at the data at the beginning of the universe and God wasn't there. Oh, well, okay. Atheism is true. Atheism might be true. There might not be a God. Hear me, all of you evolutionists, all of you atheists out there. You might be right. There might not be a God. But if not God, what? Give me something. Don't tell me that everything came from nothing, by nothing, and for no reason. Because that's what atheistic evolution has tried to convince me. That the Big Bang just happened. Nothing caused it. There was, prior to the Big Bang, there was nothing. And then there was something, and nothing caused the something. There was no intelligence behind it, and there was no reason for it. It is a cosmic burp, a cosmic accident. Well, I said, well, you can't have a cosmic burp or a cosmic accident because you have nothing. So already your thing that you're postulating is nonsensical. I'm not saying atheism is wrong. I'm saying, if not God, what? If you want to go with an eternally existing universe, there you go. We can do that. And now you don't need a God because you have an eternally existing universe, except I think that makes the universe God. How do you know it's not God? How do you know the universe isn't intelligent? How do you know that the universe is not contained within us? 50 trillion cells, I'm told. We have over 50 trillion cells in our body. How do we figure that out? How many have you counted? I'm up to 800 million and 14, 15, there's another one. Really? We have over 50 trillion cells in our body. Well, we can look at a part of the body under a microscope and we can see all the cells and we can theorize how many are in the entire body. I don't know. I mean, how do we know this? How did we figure, how did we figure out, I'll go stupid for you, okay? I'll go real stupid here for you. How did we figure out that the earth is doing this and the sun is just here and the earth is going like this? How did we figure that out? If you're on Earth, which is what we are, for thousands of years, we looked up in the sky and we went, there goes the sun, it's going around, and here comes the sun again, and it's going, and somebody figured out, no, we're doing it. We're turning, and we're going around the sun. How in the hell did we figure that out? Who figured that out and how? I've never, how did we figure out how fast light travels? 186,000 miles a second, 188,000, I forget the exact speed. How did we figure that out? All right, we're going to start that flashlight. I've got my thing here and go. And no. What? 186,000 miles a second? How did we figure that out? How? I just assumed that's how fast light travels. I don't know that that's how fast light, I don't even know that light travels. Here comes light. There it goes. Light travels? Where's it going? So I believe that everything comes from something, that there is a cause. Every effect has a cause. And God, Hank Hanegraaff called God the uncaused first cause. I believe that before the universe existed, God created it, brought it into existence, and God is the eternal source. I don't understand that. I can't explain how that's possible, and you can't explain how the universe is an eternally existing source. One or the other. But in either case, I believe God, and you believe in atheism. But as long as you accept that the universe is eternal, or give me something that caused the universe to exist, to come into existence. What caused the Big Bang? Did the universe exist prior to the Big Bang? Is the universe eternally existing? Okay. Now we have common ground. We both acknowledge there has to be an eternally existing source that explains why everything is here. To me, that's what makes sense. And that's why I'm not an atheist. I'm an agnostic theist who believes there is a God. And I don't try to claim what that God is. Hi, I'm God. Nice to meet you. I'm God. Yeah, how you doing? No, I don't hold any kind of being that occupies time and space in our universe, because if God occupies time and space in our universe, then that means he's some kind of physical thing like Thor or Zeus. By the way, they could all exist too. The universe, I believe the universe is infinite. That's what I believe. The universe is infinite. And therefore, it's very possible that everything we've imagined actually exists somewhere in the universe. I mean, if it's infinite. Thor's out there somewhere. He's coming to get you one day. He's going to show up. And I'm just messing with you. That's all. Talk to y'all later.